How was the weekend?
Oh, good, man. I hosted for Easter. I saw your victory picture. I have my victory picture too. What did we do? We had a little kid egg hunt and a big kid egg hunt. It was funny.
Nice.
Yeah. What about you?
My grandma's 100th birthday was on Saturday.
Didn't you just have someone else recently that was that old?
No.
Oh, I feel like you got the genes that you're gonna live forever. You better get your good retirement planning, man. You're gonna put like 95 as your death date or something.
Yeah, I'll be around forever, which, yeah, like you're saying, it's good and bad, right? With inflation and stuff, it's like,
Yeah, right.
do you want to be around when you're 100?
Yeah, and you live long enough to watch everyone you love die. It's great.
You're gonna need $1 billion.
Where's Avy Poo?
I know he just did he was doing a onboarding. So
Yeah.
he might be busy. I'm not sure if he's jumping in or not.
Is he still in there with them?
No, they're done.
Ooh.
I think he finished round 2, but
Yeah, I'm just adding their shit into everything now. So let's see. They finally. I put him in Spring Lake just so you know.
okay.
He's got to update his website.
What's up, everybody? If you're jumping in, just say hi. Confirm you can hear us. I know most of you guys are probably out on Facebook. Let's see. All right, let me check. Oh, all right, yeah. Did you get a text, Tom?
Um.
Not yet.
No, nothing. No. Yeah, that's weird, man. It might be a setting of yours if you needed to send that text out there, but obviously just use Call Fire until then.
I'm in Call Fire now. I'm not sure why they don't go out.
Make sure it didn't expire because I know sometimes they have limits on how many times you can send it.
No, it's set up. It says scheduled.
Scheduled?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, check the times. See if you got the right time.
This broadcast started by campaign schedule. All right, I guess it's going out now. Let me see. I don't think I got it yet. Nope. All right, guys, we're going to get started in a minute, too. Okay. Scheduled. I don't know. I guess it's delayed. The only other option is if it goes out at 2:30. I think it's too early. All right, some people got the text. I didn't get it yet. All right, good to know. Good to know. All right, we're going to give another minute, guys, and we'll get going. What's up, Chris? What's up, Pop? Pop was at the party. Jamming out. He had the whole band there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Would you guys play?
What, did they play?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Must have been a memorable performance.
old school stuff.
Yeah, I can see your
Little
dad.
brown-eyed girl.
Okay, some Van.
Some Irish songs.
Very cool.
All right, guys. Hope you guys all had an awesome weekend. It's always a good time to refresh with the fam. Obviously, we're going into the spring market now. Year is 25% done. So 25% of the accomplishments of what you guys are your goals are set for 2024. It's in the books, guys. So time is really flying. I mean, I can't believe it's April already, and we're gonna go over just where things are in the market overall. I know a lot of agents. Some agents are up this year. Some agents are saying that they're down. So I know a lot of people wonder like what's happening overall in the market. So we're just going to do a highlight on kind of where things are at in Ocean and Monmouth County in the interim. If anybody has any issues, problems, anything that you want to go over, feel free to drop, your question in the chat. If you wanted to come up at any time, at the end and be on video and ask any questions, there's a link on Facebook in the comments that I dropped in. So if you click that link, it'll bring you into the studio, and we can bring you in live to chat about whatever you guys got going on. So.
Yeah, guys. I mean, this was always, just so you know, Bozak's vision of this was always to have more of a banter, back and forth, to hear from you guys and hear what you're struggling with. So obviously, he's always got some great information here, but we want to hear from you guys and what's most important. So.
All right, guys. So Monmouth County, single family, you're going to see right now that the new listings were down compared to last year, about 1%. So market seems to be pretty flat overall as far as new listings as well as closed sales. See, not much of a change overall compared to last year. If you remember last year's mindset, a little bit different. We were going into this new, 7.5%, 8% mortgage rates. Right now, we're doing a little bit better than that. So there was a different mindset back then of as far as where the market was going to go. A lot of people in December, November, and in January as well that were closing or thinking to put their house on the market in February 2023. Their mindset was a little bit different than it is today. Obviously the market has not crashed. There was a big anticipation of the market crashing. That was due to the media. And as you know, the media will overhype things and sensationalize things, and they'll push the narrative of fear. They always do. And our goal is to always, keep our clients up to date. I know, like we always say, everybody follows, a bunch of realtors, so we tend to see a lot of the same messaging as far as what's happening in the market. But keep in mind your followers, on your Facebook or on your Instagram, or if you have TikTok. They may not be seeing this messaging other than what the mainstream media is putting out. So their conception of what's happening in the market, may be disconnected from reality. A lot of the stats and a lot of the data that they may see that pop up on CNN, Fox News, things like that. They look at everything just broad based. These are all national media companies that are just reporting on the national overall market and not local. So we need local market experts here in Ocean County and Monmouth County to update the general public on where things are at. So your clients are looking for this information. They're wanting this information. This may trigger them to make a decision on where they want to move or what they want to do, or their conception of what the reality of the equity portion of their property is in. Some people may just hear the headlines and just assume that the market's down or their property value went down, and now it's not a good time to sell. So it's just really getting that actual information out to our clients. And there's there's a lot of different ways. If you have a CRM, you can push out a newsletter. It could be through an email. So all this data, I could share this data out on Facebook if you want to screen grab this stuff and share it out. There's many different ways. You don't have to go on video and do this, guys. It could be just a quick explainer as far as this is what's happening as of February 2024 all relevant data. So townhouses in Monmouth County. So you'll see this spikes, from time to time. The driver is usually new construction. When you see a big 36% change in townhouses as far as new listings, that's not going to be your normal average market. Last year the same thing. You got a couple of new construction developments that are adding a lot of inventory to the market. You're seeing a lot of closings there. And that's why you're also seeing a 20% bump in townhouses or condos. That doesn't align with what's happening in single family in Monmouth County. Usually townhouses lag behind single family. So I would kind of keep in mind if you are working with a client, that is wanting a townhouse and they see something like this, that, oh, townhouses are up 20%. Well, you actually have to break it down to your market, your town, and the product that they're looking. They're not looking at new construction. I could tell you this probably isn't realistic that their market is up 20%. So this is the key when you're explaining these things, to let people know that, yeah, these are numbers, but what your actual numbers, what your value is, may be different. Give me a call so I can discuss further or evaluate further. Adult communities in Monmouth County, 7% up in new listings. Closed sales, we're down, and the median sales price you can see is only up about 8% year over year. So that's pretty good. That's kind of stagnant in my opinion. If you had to go out on a listing appointment for an adult community right now, and if they asked you, how the market is, I'd pretty much tell them, yeah, we're pretty level compared to where we were last year. So this is something where you wouldn't want to price that adult community house way above market, hoping that you're just going to get break a record and get 25 or $50,000 over the last sale. This is not the market to do that in. If you're looking to sell quickly, which is obviously another discussion you're going to have with your clients. How quickly are you looking to sell? If you want to sell within 30 days, you can see the days on the market right now. They've been going up. We want to say 45, 42, and 46 for these properties. So, compared to 2021, 2022, we were seeing under 30 days for the most part. So we're seeing days on the market, in the 40 range. So keep that in mind. It's not a put it on the market, bidding war in a week, and now we're going to close. If you're looking to get, a good value for the property, I'm seeing more so maybe one or two offers come in, within that first week, and no longer you're seeing like, 4, 5, 10 offers, unless you really underprice it. So here's a just a little graph, just so you can see kind of historically, where pricing is. I dropped some red lines in there so you can see kind of where the market is right now. The top lines for single family, and you're seeing that we're really just above kind of where the peak of like 2021 and 2022 were. Obviously, there's some peaks. It looks like in the summer of 2022, and then also in 2023 for single family. Again, this is for Monmouth County, but we're coming back down, from last year in comparison. So the mindset of somebody that's been sitting on the sidelines, maybe they thought about selling. You're not going to take that peak house that sold in 2022 or 2023 and just assume you're going to get again over that price. When you look at townhouses, again, you're seeing like peak pricing for those, but you're going to want to look into each community and figure out where things are at. Again, townhouses usually lag. So townhouses right now, I think they're always going to be catching up to single family. So I am seeing some developments where we are seeing record pricing, at least in Toms River, the community I'm in, Saratoga. We're seeing record pricing. Laurel Chase and Toms River prices are high. And this is just because single family now, on average, you're looking at, $550 to $600,000. So people just, I guess they see more value in townhouses than they were, when the market was going up. All right, over to Ocean County, new listings, guys. We were flat again in Ocean County as far as new listings go. Closed sales were up a little bit year over year. The median sales price, you can see a huge bump. I mean, $75,000 over the course of a year. I mean, that's insane when you consider that in the last year, rates have always been high. On average, you're looking at 7.5% interest rates over the last year, and we're still up 15%. So if I'm working that Ocean County area, this is something that you really want to tout, because most people that, again, bought in 2020, 21, 22, a lot of these people are sitting on these interest rates, and they really need motivation in order to move. Life happens sometimes, and there's many reasons people move, but they might not be assuming that their house went up by 15% while the rates went up at the same time. This is just, to me, it's pretty mind opening that this market here in Ocean County just remains so strong. I think it just shows that North Jersey remains hot. A lot of people moving from New York City coming down. We've got a lot of, um, you know, pressure, from the Lakewood community moving into Manchester, moving into Jackson, and inflating those prices. So these are all things that are still putting pressure on this market, and there's just not enough housing in this area. Townhouses and condos were up 13%. Median sales prices for townhouses and condos up 31% in Ocean County. Now I know for a fact there isn't a ton of like new construction right now. I think Bayville is the one spot where they have some brand new townhouses going up, and I think they're in that like 375 to $400,000 price point range. So the market has really swung up in this area. I mean, I just can't believe it. Some of these older townhouses built in the 80s, built in the 90s, they're now in like the 350 price points when, they struggled to be, above that 250 price point. So, something to keep in mind. I mean, your people that may have bought a townhouse or condo, in the past, I would do a market report for them. I would just give them something so they could see, where they stand, where their equity portion is. And even if they don't want to move, if for some reason, they happen to have to move in like a year or two, at least they have a good indication on, where the market is. We have to stay in touch with these clients, and I think you're giving them the gift of, knowing that, hey, my house went up, 50,000 or 100,000 over the course of a year. You're going to get their brain turning. They may be considering now, oh, we could finally maybe look at, buying a house, because on top of that, maybe I got a raise, and, you know, maybe they want to move out of the area and move where prices are leveled out, and maybe the Carolinas, and buy brand new construction. Until you can allow them to think and know that they're sitting on $200,000 in equity, they may not put themselves in that position to, wonder, what a new home, what they could qualify for. But with $200,000 in equity, that gives them, 20 to 40%, on a $500,000 purchase. So it offsets that high interest rate. So you can do the math from and say, hey, if you sell for 350, we know you only owe 150 on this townhouse. You're now dealing with 200,000 in equity. If you're to buy something for six, this is what's on the market. This is what your price would be, may be. And you're just shifting your equity over into something that, you could actually stay in longer. Now is a good time to have these conversations, because the market really hasn't skyrocketed. Rates are still high. We do believe rates are going to come down. We'll go over that in the next couple of slides. Adult community in Ocean County is probably the one thing right now in this market that is down. New listings are down 3%. Closed sales, the number of sales are down, under 1%, and the median sales price only up 1%. So to me, that's like, that's neutral. And what you're seeing too is with the amount of inventory on the market in those areas, and with the rates being higher, I think it is kind of becoming unaffordable for those seniors. Regardless of what they're selling their houses for. When you're talking about all these homes that are now remodeled and in a 350, 450 price range, I think there's a limiting factor on what buyers are willing to spend in Holiday City, and we're kind of seeing that cap be put on things, and we're just seeing a lot of people kind of compete. A lot of these investors that were buying and flipping, that's still their business model. That was a lot of people's primary business model. And it doesn't mean that they can stop. They just have to go acquire properties and keep things moving. So we're always going to see, I think, that kind of inventory available. And a lot of these people just have to compete with each other now because the market really isn't cooperating in the way because of the amount of inventory and the amount of people that got into flipping. That's the one spot where it's still really easy, to flip these homes, but you got to be very careful if you're working with an investor acquiring properties when you're dealing with a stable market, or a market that really could be on the cusp of decline. Um,
And something to consider too, guys, just to throw in, Bo, is the adult communities. There's no more construction going on than in adult communities preparing for like the baby boomers. You guys probably see, even Ocean County, Monmouth County, especially too, a lot of adult communities being built out. And correct me if I'm wrong, Bo, these stats aren't only showing MLS listed properties. So if you
Correct.
have off market builder stuff selling, there's a lot more inventory of new construction communities like that than not. So just to point that out as well.
Yeah, and we're seeing, I mean, as far as like Lacey and Barnegat and Stafford, a lot of these newer developments, you're seeing adult communities in the fives and even in the sixes. So I think they're not your average, and not a lot of those are going to sell because a lot of those people have just moved in, right? I mean, you see a lot of these times where these houses, they don't move, they don't change hands for 10, 15, 20 years. These people are buying them at the age of 55. Their intention is to stay long term. So, that it's just insane how just the prices down south have moved up, and it's really helping to support like the northern ocean market, the Toms River, the Brick. You're seeing new construction really, where we used to sell stuff for 350, 400, even 450 is now 750 to 850. So we've doubled really in the course of doesn't seem like too long ago, but 2016. But I mean, from 2016 to 2019, things were pretty flat, and we saw in 2020, to now, things have pretty much doubled. So it's been a lot of, I guess, shock to the market. A lot of people now have to readjust to what the new market is. But it's really the same in a lot of these established areas where you have not many issues with economy and with jobs. Your Carolinas, Georgia, Florida, those areas that are still they're still hot. There's pockets that aren't, but an established area like Toms River, Ocean County, Monmouth County, close to work, with New York City being a hub. It's really the market hasn't stopped. All right. So yeah, this is just showing again a graph. So you could see the single family right now. I mean, we're still, all-time highs, for the most part, close to all-time highs, except for that, blip, those bumps in 2023. But again, people were buying those at the highest interest rates. So, all right. So current mortgage rates, we're seeing sevens, pretty much all the way around. I mean, anybody that's a first-time buyer, anybody that's an investor, you're probably looking at 7.5 to 8%. Equity lines are tricky right now. A lot of banks, I'm seeing now, it's a little bit trickier to do an equity line, and I think it's just kind of a compression of the overall market and the ability, to want to lend. We'll see what happens throughout the course of this year, but I think a lot of banks right now are kind of playing it very conservative with how much money they want to lend. So keep that in mind too with your clients. Make sure if they are getting pre-approved, that they are staying in touch, I guess, with that loan officer, because I think as things change this year, we may see some tricky things happen. Obviously we know with the new change with NAR, with FHA, and with VA, there might be some changes coming down the pike. So we're hopeful that we'll be hearing more about it over the next 60 days, and we'll keep you kind of up to date. But that could kind of make things complicated for your buyers that might be approved through FHA or VA. I would say try to get them to close as soon as possible, because there might be like a lag time between the time that I guess we figure out this buyer agency commission thing with NAR and you know when your client's looking to buy. So shouldn't have an impact. We should be able to figure it out. But again, keep that in mind if you're working with a client. With those guidelines that tell them, let's go, let's get it closed now before you have to deal with any issues. Historical mortgage rates, as you can see, guys, really we're at an all-time high since like 2000s. So the mindset of kind of where rates are going is they can't they're probably not going to stay above the sevens much longer. They're looking at bringing them down in the sixes. We had hopes that they'd possibly come down to the fives in 2024, but I don't see that. I think it's too late now in the year. We're quarter of the way through for them to go a full percentage point down. You might see it get to like 6.5s. Not going to really make that big of a deal as far as your purchasing power right now, because I think we're going to go into this summer market and we're going to see more people entering the market, which could pop prices up again. We saw that in 2023. We saw prices pop up when rates came down. So we might have this thing where we're just kind of bending but not breaking with the market, where they adjust, prices go up, then they're going to readjust, then rates are going to go back down, and then through the fall and the winter, there's not much going. There's not as many sales. So I think the Fed figures that if they just kind of play this game, they could possibly get this inflation of housing kind of under control, where they can kind of have it where it's not deviating too much, nationwide, where they're kind of keeping things at least within like 5 to 10% year over year. So I guess strategies for getting business, guys, for the rest of this year, again, I think is communicating, hopping on the phone, having just an overall conversation with your client. Just understand if you're a realtor and you're their realtor, they're probably going to have some questions for you as far as how's things going in the real estate market. I know no matter where I'm at, it's a family party or gathering. I mean, it's just something that they automatically are going to ask that, right? So put yourself in situations where, whether it's a family party, to understand, or even going out anywhere, to understand that you should have an answer right away for that question. How's the market? You should have an answer right off. It's not going to be like, oh, it's okay. Or yeah, we're just hanging in there. Like, what kind of response is that from a professional? It should be, oh man, rates are at like 7% right now, but the foresight is that they're going to get into the sixes. I mean, single families in Ocean County right now, I mean, it's crazy. The prices have been up, 15% over last year. So you start telling people this stuff, right? What are they going to do? They're going to repeat that. And they get into a conversation possibly with somebody else about the market, and they're going to say, "Oh, how did you know that?" "Oh, I have a great agent. I was talking to my agent Justin last week, and he gave me the whole scoop on what's happening in the market, and what he understands, based upon my neighborhood or based upon my house and where my value is. Like, he can give you an update." And it doesn't mean that that person's automatically going to be like, oh, great, now I'm going to list and now I'm going to sell my house. No, it's information, and that information always sparks somebody to maybe imagine kind of like, oh, well, what could I do? Maybe they have a discussion now with their significant other, about, oh, hey, I think we're probably valued around this. Like, did you want to maybe talk to somebody, or maybe they're just now looking on Zillow, and they're seeing what else is available. That's all something that only you guys can control. And you hear about these deals, right? Where, oh man, my past client ended up buying with somebody else. That could have been just a conversation, just like that. They saw, another person that's a friend, friendly with them, and their kids on the same soccer team, and they just had a conversation, and that conversation led to them saying, oh well, maybe swing by, bring your kids or whatever, and you can come check out the house. and all of a sudden they have a listing, and it's because somebody else was there having the conversation at the right time, and they had a good answer, for that client. And where were you? You haven't been in touch with that person for a year or two. You're not really relevant. If you're not, doing a good job on social media, with updating, your clients on this information, you're not relevant. You're not providing them information for them to make a decision or spark them, into that next step of, figuring out what their house is worth, or figuring out, what they can borrow. It's all about having control over the discussion, and the more information that you put out there showing that you guys are professional agents, whether it's video, whether it's a picture, just it's something, post some stuff in your stories. Just keep buyers and keep sellers updated on kind of where things are at, and if you do this quarterly, it could be enough where that could be a touch or two where you get another deal or two, this year from it. It definitely works. If you're out there taking listings, there's no reason why you guys shouldn't be doing video on these listings. I don't know if you guys saw Abe's video on a 200 and something thousand dollar condo the other day, which is a little nothing. I'm sure Nick showed up and he's like, "What are we doing here? There's like nothing to shoot for video," and Abe's just, showed how efficient the house is. He's in the bedroom, the living room, the kitchen, and looking at the bathroom all at the same time. But he played into it, right? That's fine. That's great. You get attention on that property. Don't look at any listing like, oh, this isn't good enough for a video. You know, Posting video of your listings, to me, it may not find you the buyer for that listing, but it may find you another listing. You're more than likely to get another listing from posting that video, because it's just showing that I'm going to showcase your property. I'm going to push it out, and I'm going to do everything that I can, to market and advertise that property. So, Motion City has the capacity to handle doing all these videos. They're going to help you walk through and give you some ideas to shoot these videos. You don't have to automatically come with a script and feel like, I've got to have this whole thing, and I got to on camera. So this is the way I want to do it. You just go with the flow. It's something where you just show up, and you're pitching it just like, hey, somebody's just showed up to come see this house, and I'm just going to highlight the features, and just before we walk in the house, just like in any other way. It's just really 10 seconds to 20 seconds where you guys are going to be on camera. So I mean, I want to challenge. I mean, if you have a listing coming up, do it. Just freaking do it. We need more video out there to bring more clients back to us. And this is something where the strategy is when you post these videos, you post it organically, and after 24 to 48 hours, the views are going to drop off. The video pretty much becomes dead at that point. But you could boost that video, for $40, $50, get more eyeballs on it, get some more messages, get some more comments, and your sellers, if they're on the social platforms, which sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't, they're going to see that, hey, they're getting a lot of views, and when you do that too, you get more followers. More people are going to like seeing this kind of content. You're pushing this content out because you're not just doing the basic. You're showing something off. One of the ways that I was able to kind of grow on TikTok. A lot of you guys are saying, you don't want to go onto it, but I can tell you, this is the next generation. Like all these people that are on TikTok that were 16, 17, 18 years old a couple years ago, are now 23, 24, 25. They're going to grow up just like the Instagram generation did, because at one point we were all just on Facebook, and we were on Instagram because we said, hey, these people are getting older now, and we can showcase different things off on Instagram. The same thing's going to happen on TikTok. And right now is your best ability to grow that channel. Are you telling me that in 5 years, you're not going to work with a 25-year-old or a 30-year-old? Because those are the clientele that are going to be on TikTok. They may not have an Instagram account at all. So why wouldn't you create a free account on a different platform and try to grow that right now? While you can take advantage of growing a following and getting more views on your properties for your sellers, or educating more buyers. This is something where it's long term. If you're going to be here for 5 to 10 years, and if you don't have a TikTok, like you guys, it's a cheat code. If you're making a video or if you're making content and you're posting on Facebook or you're posting it on Instagram, it's just one more thing to post it on TikTok. Do the same thing with like LinkedIn. LinkedIn is actually growing, pretty strong. Um, so, and these are all things too. Once you create this reel, if you guys are doing them, you drop it into your story. When you drop it into your story and you keep it as a reel, it'll just show it, for real quick. I think it's either 5 to 10 seconds. It's almost a preview, but that helps you, get more views. That's a way where somebody clicks on that reel within the story, you have another view. That might be somebody that may not have seen it. We're working right now to grow Jersey Shore Lifestyle, which is going to be our Instagram brand page just for local knowledge and information. It's not going to be flooded with market data and real estate data and houses and open houses and things like that. It's going to be a way that we bring in people that are just looking for local information. And that's going to be a source where eventually at some point they're going to see that this site's collaborating a lot with Remax Revolution, and maybe there'll be a couple things here and there sponsored by Remax Revolution. It's just a way for us to brand, market, advertise, create some content. So these are all posts now too. Once we create them, that you guys can share on your channels, providing some more insight, getting some free posts. This is really what you should be doing, during the day, as part of your job. Maybe take a half an hour, commit at least a half an hour to your day, to doing some social media, to doing some market updates. Obviously, you know you wouldn't have to do a market update every day. This is something you could do like once a month or once a quarter. If you guys aren't busy, like you should be, there creating a newsletter or sending that this to your database in some way or fashion. So if you guys have any questions on just kind of getting started, feel free, let us know. That's what we're here for. But this is where the battle is going to be won this year, guys, because you could see the listings are not going up, and you have a lot of agents that are now scared and that are going to be more competitive than ever to try to get these listings. The theory is obviously we're going to be in a market that's going to cooperate, but we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if there's going to be a brand that's local to our market, that's going to start advertising, 2% everywhere. You have to kind of assume that these worst case scenarios could happen, and it could cause a ripple effect where now, well, what do? Now you have to explain yourselves. If you brought the value ahead of time, and if you showed that, hey, we're doing video, we're doing drone, we're doing market updates, I know the market, like they may never have that conversation with this company that's going to discount their commissions. So we have to be prepared for that. Again, this is going to be a professionals market, I think, moving forward. Less agents are going to be getting into the business, I believe, overall. Because I know if an agent asks me right now, what they should do, I should tell them, I'm going to tell them, just hang back, see what happens with the market. It would be crazy to suggest, for me to suggest somebody that I know, like, or trust, to hop into a market right now where there's a lot of things that you'd be unsure of. The good thing is that they'd be getting into the market and they'd be able to train, the right way from day one. But knowing that there might be less transactions, and knowing that they're really going to be behind the eight ball because they're going to be competing against people that are going to be pitching buyer's agency agreements that have been working with buyers for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And again, if you're not that agent that has been in the business for 5 years working with buyers, you got to bring value. You're going to have to step up, your marketing, your advertising, your mailers, things like that, if you want to hang in this business. The game is definitely going to change. I definitely wanted to split things up and not talk about NAR and the settlement. I think we kind of covered everything already, and things will change. And I think, probably in a couple weeks, there'll be, some new, revelations on things that are going to come out, and we'll have to address it at that point. But, we really need to dig in and take this seriously. You guys need to be making phone calls or doing social media marketing or sending out mailers. If you guys are not doing any of this and you're just waiting for the phone to ring, if you're just waiting for a lead to come in, like you are showing that what your true value as a realtor is. And that is just a door opener. If you're just waiting for leads, and I know that's probably there's a decent amount of agents in this office that's your business flow. And it's really time to wake up, because that game could be changed, and that game will change this year. I think there's something about a year or two ago that came out about leads, showing that the same lead got sold 30 different times. Do we really think that with buyer's agency that this is going to continue to happen? It's not. Because once you guys have somebody locked into a buyer agency agreement, do you think they're going to be going online, submitting all these different inquiries to all these different real estate companies to get information on these listings? No, because you did a professional job sitting down with your client, letting them know how the process works and letting them know to contact you. They already signed a buyer agency agreement to you. Why would they be online sending random messages to random agents at that point? So, I mean, I predict that the amount of leads that are going to come in is going to drop off on a lot of these platforms. So what does that mean? That means less opportunities for the people that sit around waiting for leads. It's going to be more competitive, for these leads. Now they may be higher quality when they come in, because these are probably people that don't have buyer agency agreements signed. But now you're going to have to do a much better job securing that lead and getting them signed a buyer agency agreement, moving forward. So we're going to go over some trainings on buyer agency agreements and things like that. I think as we progress, I think right now it's still a little bit early. We don't have the form yet, fully in place in New Jersey. We've obviously dropped into Dropbox some of the other states' buyer agency forms. So if you haven't looked at those yet, check them out. This is lingo that you guys are going to have to start remembering. These are things that you could obviously, pitch now. We have a buyer agency agreement now that could be signed, so practice, set up some consultations, and, we'll do some Q&A on that stuff too, coming up. But yeah, that's it for today, unless anybody has any questions. If anybody has a deal that they're having an issue with, and if you want to, drop a problem in the chat, I mean, I've got time.
Well, Kristen just posted Kristen, yes, to help making and posting videos. It's really all about the content. I mean, just having whether you're touring your own house, open house, having creative ideas like we did on the TikTok. Again, one of your new listings, Abe did a great job. I really loved his little spin, his twist that he said. Ada said that you should have dropped "That's What She Said" right in the video, Abe. So you missed an opportunity. But I thought it was a great job. And just to point out, Yvonne, she's new with us. Yvonne Nevis, she just did a listing video for her listing on Flamingo. And she did it both in English and Spanish. She's got a clientele of Spanish speaking. So I think she can post that in a bunch of different platforms. And even if it's not guarded to the Spanish speaking, you post that out there and someone's going to say, oh, a Spanish speaking agent if I ever need one. So I thought it was a very outside the box thinking video to do. So I want to just pitch that as well. But anything else you want to add, Bob?
Yeah, as far as like posting videos, again, like Motion City's a cheat code. Like they're going to like mic you up and they're going to edit that video and deliver it cleanly to you. So one thing I would keep in mind is that if you are messing around with like CapCut and different apps to create videos, you have to be careful, at least on TikTok, with music. Like right now, I'm in the mode where like I can't have any edited content with music already on it. So what I'm doing with Motion City is telling them deliver me something with music, because Facebook and Instagram are pretty good with allowing Motion City's music, which they have a copyright for. So it's an allowable use. But good luck arguing with any of these platforms to tell them that you have a copyright for it. They don't care. They're just going to restrict it, and you're going to lose that opportunity to market and advertise that house. But they can deliver one without music on it. So it's just your voiceover. A little bit more work to get that synced up. But maybe what we can do is, if people are interested in learning more about TikTok, I could do like a private session for you guys, but I'm not going to do it unless, you already have an account set up and you're actually creating video. I'm not going to start from like square one, setting up account. You can go on YouTube and find out information on how to set up account. And if you are, wanting to learn like different tips and tricks and tutorial, like everything's on YouTube, but when it comes time to making stuff specifically for real estate, we could do a session on it. But we got a question coming in. I had a client forward me the settlement email to make a claim. It was odd. He asked what it was about. I explained it, but created an awkward thing. Real Estate Commission Litigation.com.
Yeah, I'm looking at the site now. That's from Josh. So Josh, I don't know if you've heard, but we've had a bunch of mailers go out to Toms River, other areas, just essentially having them jump on the lawsuit wagon. This also obviously started in Missouri, but there's copycat lawsuits all over the place. And if you listen to some of these NAR podcasts or NAR seminars and webinars, the biggest reason they settled is because these copycat lawsuits would have progressed and progressed and progressed, and it would have cost all us agents and brokerages and brands a lot of money to defend it in the meantime. So part of this settlement part of the settlement is to try to roll all these copycat lawsuits into it so that you set precedent where they can't sue again. So that's why there was so much pressure. Everyone says NAR gave in. I mean, NAR kind of like fell on the sword for us. They didn't want to give into this, but they saw that it was going to cost you guys so much money, or all of us, to try to defend ourselves. Maybe this settlement could have took 2 years and we would have won. Meanwhile, during those 2 years, each broker could have been spending tens of twenties of hundreds of $1,000s defending themselves. So maybe even millions, who knows? But so that's the reason. You can explain to them it's all part of this settlement that's progressing right now with the courts, and it's looking to wrap all these lawsuits into it. I don't know how you can do it without being awkward. I mean, you might be a wordsmith for that, but I hear you, man. That's a tough situation to come into, but if you sound educated and confident, I think you'll trump out in that one.
On that occasion, I'd hop on a call and I'd explain. I mean, a lot of these lawsuits are not in New Jersey. As far as your client submitting, I think they can.
What, lawsuits?
For New Jersey, he's saying, I guess he had a client that may have transacted. I think the years are like 2016 to 2018 or something for New Jersey, but it should be on there. It just depends on when he bought the house.
Well, I'm curious because this website that you pointed me to has a mailing address of Seattle. So I know there was a second lawsuit in Washington that they started pretty quickly, but I don't know if they have some kind of affiliate in New Jersey that they're utilizing. So
I haven't had anybody. So they would have sent mailers out to New Jersey, and I mean, we would have gotten them too. They're not going to. I don't think they're going to scrub the list and exclude realtors from receiving them. I have had no clients receive anything by mail from in regards to any NAR settlements. But I mean, if he wants to put his name on there, I mean, maybe something does happen at some point in with New Jersey that it wouldn't hurt him. It's not going to hurt you.
Yeah, I mean, I think what he probably saw, Josh, is a Facebook sponsored ad, which really can cross over state lines.
True.
And maybe that's what happened there. I obviously can't be sure about it, but that's my guess. He asked if putting in a claim would hurt me. Yeah, no. Okay, you already got that. But that's a good question. I'm sure you guys are going to come across that.
Yeah, Josh, you need to do some listing videos, bro. You do a nice job with your randomness videos. We all enjoy them, or most of us enjoy them. Not everybody can be a fan of the random.
John, yeah.
But,
John didn't mean that.
But yeah, man, set up that tripod and start practicing an intro and outro. It's really Josh, do you do video or just pictures? I don't think I've ever seen you do video on a listing. But we're gonna challenge Josh Schwartz to do video on a listing.
Oh, I like that idea.
Yeah, like what are we doing? And that's the key thing, guys. And don't worry about like, hey, what am I doing? I don't know. Blah, blah, blah. We all have an individual personality and, some sort of authenticity and a way to align with different people, and it's just figuring out and being confident in who you actually are as a person and not being afraid that, hey, if I do something like this may turn like these people off. These people they're not thinking about you like that. They really aren't. I think people, everybody kind of puts themselves up like, if I post this video, everybody's going to see me, and then they're going to, and then judgment and then shame, if I do a bad job. It's like, nobody is taking it that seriously when they're watching your videos. It's do you connect? Are you marketing? Are you advertising? Like, this is the responsibility, I believe, to your sellers and to your market that actually follow you. This is going to help you build a bigger base and help you build bigger fans. Like, I have certain people that they will comment or message me or share certain videos that I post up, regardless if I'm doing business with them or not. So they're sharing that with like their own personal people. Um, they're commenting. So like, I know if they ever want to do business, like they're gonna use me because they're like all over my stuff, and that's what you should be doing. You should be growing this like organic base of people that are following you. You got to give them a reason though to follow you. You've got to give them a reason to share your stuff. You've got to give them a reason to send your stuff to other people that they know that might be wanting to buy or sell their properties. It's really at the point, guys, with 2024, like this has been around for a long time now, and we're still seeing limited adoption in the real estate market with agents actually showing up and utilizing this stuff. And this is going to be the differentiator, no doubt, moving forward. Because now if you're trying to get people to sign buyer agency agreements with you, right? Those could be your sellers too. That could be the first communication with the seller is they call about a property and you got to get them sign a buyer agency agreement. Like, what if you already have all this content surrounding that information and process and things like that, and the next agent doesn't, right? It's going to be like getting a listing, so the more information that you have on your pages, about just the process or you as a person, they're going to get to know you. And once they get to know you, it's going to be a lot easier for them to sign an agreement, just like a listing. Same thing. So I think we just really, as an agency, like, this is the push, guys. If you're down on business, you're wondering what to do, this is 100% what to do, because you could reach, thousands of people without it going viral. Thousands of people for like 150, 200 bucks. I mean, you could do it for free. You do a really good job and you kind of set it up in a way where you learn how to, how to use social media in your phone and film, and it doesn't really cost you anything but your time. But this is now more than ever something that I want to stress. And again, if you guys need help, hit me up, let me know.
Yeah, and guys, if you do the videos and you just have a bunch of pieces, our marketing team can do a great job chopping it up and putting it on TikTok, or if you want to just as a video to put on Instagram or Facebook, absolutely can do that. So.
And if you haven't already, follow on Instagram and on Facebook, Jersey Shore Lifestyle. And if you guys don't have listings and you don't want to do a video for buyers, but maybe you want to highlight something in your market, whether it be, a park or something like, an event, could be anything just related to alerting the public to something happening that's important that they should know about in our market, almost like, a newspaper, we can create some stuff. Like, let us know if you see something that's of interest to you. And if you think that's something that if you put out to your market base because you're local, it could be a way for you to get people, because then you get tagged, and then you're on there, your face is on there. It doesn't have to be real estate, but it's like, oh, I'm going to follow this person. Well, follow of you as a real estate agent, they're going to then start seeing all your other stuff. So it doesn't always have to be just real estate related stuff. It could be just general stuff. It could be stuff about beaches or concerts. And I'm thinking that, like, this isn't anything that we invented, guys. This is all stuff that's been around, that works. We know some of the top agents in this market, how they do business, and it's no secret. It's just doing it at this point. And this is the year where everybody's going to need a little bit of a pick me up. You're going to need a little advantage. We're going into a crazy kind of market if you're focused on buyers. So I think this is just definitely one way you can make yourself different and stand out. Everybody's going to go through learning how to do buyer consultations and learning about buyer agency agreements, but the one thing that you can't control, right? You can't control the leads coming in. Like I said, my theory is that they're going to get reduced, but you can control creating leads on your own for yourself, not paying a 30% referral, through doing social media and through educating, your client base and friends of friends and friends of your family and things like that. You never know where this stuff is going to go. But this is the time to really dig in and be able to reach those people without paying a referral fee. So that's it. That's all I got for you guys. Unless anybody has any questions, we'll wrap it up.
All right. Good job, Bo. Nailed it.
What are you seeing, Tom?
I'm seeing Bo nailing it. That's what I'm saying.
What do you? Do we get any more calls from agents? Do we get anybody reporting anything like? Any commission reduction stuff?
No, just the typical questions on listings and how do you do coming soons? How do you do exclusives? I'm not seeing any questions on listing commission or selling commissions. So nothing's come across where they're doing this, they're doing that. So that's good news. We'll see if it changes in the future. But just the typical questions, to be honest.
But in Facebook groups, I see random posts, but you're talking, these are like, big Facebook groups, 30,000, 40,000 people nationwide. So I'm starting seeing posts and stuff where like sellers are just proposing like their terms and just blanket sending out to different agents, do a 30-day listing for 3% and dual disclosed. Like that's my offer. Like sellers are getting like really bold, I guess, with, what's happening. It's like, well, what does that even mean? You're not even allowing an agent at that point to kind of differentiate your property or pitch your property or help you get more money by, advising you, so I think that's going to be a rarity still, but, just something to keep an eye on. All right, guys, we will wrap up. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Real quick, guys, Thursday, we have, if you haven't heard him before, Scott Einbinder coming in to talk about lead generation ideas in this type of market when you're working with buyers and obviously listings and how to get more listings. If you haven't heard him speak before, you got to join for this because he's very, very engaging. So if you're obviously joining us Zoom, we'd love to see you in Spring Lake Live at 10 a.m. on Thursday. So hopefully you guys can make it.
Yeah, he's a great speaker. He's gonna drop some tips and some knowledge of some things you haven't heard before, which is good. Did Viet and Gruber reschedule?
Yeah, not till like the end of April. We're swamped with stuff for the rest of April.
Okay, that'll be another good session. All right, guys. Later.